got you here. Now that you're here, it was a transition year and you're going to do better. And that just, the weight lifted. And that was my worst semester, I'm happy to say. Then I got involved in things. And it was funny because that was a semester that I didn't do anything but school. And it was my worst semester. The semesters that I was an RA, when I was in the choir, when I was a tour guide, I was doing any and everything. Those are semesters where I made a 3.7, a 3.8. And it was because I had to learn how to balance, but it was like I had gotten in my groove. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. You got it. And just tell yourself, I got this. Give yourself some affirmations to say, and surround yourself with people who make you better.
And we just have one final question for you. Sorry to backtrack kind of back to the whole education perspective, or yeah. I just wanted to know, being as you have gone through public education and higher education, what your perspective on standardized learning is, like the SOLs we have to take, and if that truly prepares us for college and stuff like that.
Oh, you gonna ask me this question with 3 minutes left?
Sorry.
I'm just messing with you. So SOLs, I think, are, I was gonna say ridiculous. So I can see why. I can see why there is a desire to have standardization across education. I think that sentiment is correct, that we want to ensure that all children, I think there is a misguided equity component that people believed made sense with SOLs, which is we want the child in Fairfax, who is the child of a doctor and a lawyer, to do the same as a student in this school I'm sitting in who lives in public housing. We would like to know that they are learning the same thing. I think the misguided piece of that is it's the assumption of the learning environments to be able to get to that place and not providing all of the supports needed so that both of these very different environments teaching children with very different backgrounds can meet that same goal. So it's like, don't give me a goal that is impossible, that you know is impossible for me to reach. If you're going to give me that goal, it's that equality and equity sentiment. SOLs are about equality, which means I want everybody to get the same thing. We got pizza. I got 8 pieces of pizza and 4 students. Every student gets 2 pieces of pizza because that's equal. And that is exactly what is fair. And that seems right because that is what we are conditioned. That is what we learn at a very young age. You get a cookie, I want a cookie. But I told you guys what I had to do in my classroom for Dante, because Dante didn't eat dinner and Dante didn't eat breakfast. So I didn't hand out Nutri-Grain bars to every person in my class because every person in my class didn't need a Nutri-Grain bar to focus. Dante needed it because he didn't get dinner and he missed breakfast. So if we are going to use the SOL model, we have to ensure that there is equity, which means that kids get what they need. Kids don't get exactly the same thing. And so I think if we can do a better job with our equity, and there's this picture you may have seen that has 3 children looking at a baseball game. And in one picture, every single child has the same box to stand on. But one of the children is like 6 feet tall and they could see without the box. One child is still too short with the box, and one child can just see. And that's equality because we gave them the same thing. And the goal was to see the baseball game, and still only one child can see it. So in the SOL situation, the child who has the most is going to pass the SOLs. The other children are still not going to reach that bar you set because you didn't give them the right resources. If we move to an equity model, that same picture, what I would do is I would take away the box for the child that was 6 feet tall because they can already see the game. I would give the child who couldn't see with one box 2 boxes. And I would also give the child who could just see, I give them another lift so that then all of my people can see the goal, which is to see this baseball game. So we can apply that. That's a very simplified version of what we're talking about, but you could look up that picture. It's pretty popular, but I think it's a powerful image to explain why SOLs in particular are troublesome. And everybody's teaching to the test. It forces teachers, Dalton, your mom, she's been in it. It stifles your creativity. That was another reason why I got out of the classroom. Man, I used to teach classes with singing. It was like, if we were doing greater than, less than, it was like, if it's greater than, raise the roof. If it's less than, drop it like it's hot. My kids remembered that. But when you're trying to teach to that test and get all that stuff in, it becomes difficult. So I don't know what the answer is to take SOLs out, but I know we have to do things differently because our kids are failing with that as the model. And you're not prepared for college. Dalton, you just said that. You knew how to memorize. And now all of a sudden people are telling you, I need you to critically think about something. And you're like, that is not what we were taught in school. We were taught how to do multiple choice questions.
Yeah, sorry to put that like kind of big question in the last 3 minutes. I've talked to like many of my mom's teachers, friends over the years, and it's kind of a ubiquitous, thought amongst teachers that SOLs are kind of just out. It's kind of like the BMI, like in terms of it's good for general, but it doesn't work on an individual level.
Yeah, Dalton, are you a pre-med student?
Yeah.
Look at you, Dalton. You are gonna go into medicine, and I'm gonna tell this story to you because that kind of is personal. You touched me with the BMI. You can look at me and you can see I am an overweight person. That is true. I do not have a good BMI. What I appreciate about what you said, Dalton, is when you become a doctor and I walk into your office and I say something is wrong with me, there are some doctors, and I've had this happen. I have literally had this happen. I had knee pain for years. I went to the doctor. He looked at me. He saw my size, and I believe he saw my race, and he said, exercise when I'm having knee problems. And he said, lose weight. Dalton, I want you to know that you being a doctor is so important because people like me go in and that's how they're treated. Because they see this and they say, well, if you would just lose weight, you wouldn't have high blood pressure, or you wouldn't have this, or you have that. And you have to see the individual, and you still have to treat the individual. So that was just, it was small, but it was powerful. And it tells me you're going to be a good doctor.
Thank you. Like, as passionate as you are about like disparities in education, I hate BMI with a passion because it just ignores like co-founding variables, and it's unethical because insurance companies base rates. Sorry, I can go on.
You'd be like me. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Victoria, what is your goal?
I actually want to be a doctor as well.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys keep this in mind because medicine, like education, is full of inequity, and we need really, really good doctors that understand how to be inclusive in their medical practice.
Yeah, no, I will definitely do my best to at least do my part to minimize the inequity that is within medicine.
Awesome. All right, guys, is that it? Are you good to go?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
thank
a great
you.
semester. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.